She hasn't said a word yet, but she's already decided what you're worth. You're sitting in a Thai restaurant with 8 tables and vinyl booths held together with tape on the seats. A pendant lamp swings above you, warm and low. The television in the corner is playing something no one can identify, and the woman at the next table, mid-30s, camel coat, leather bag with hardware you can hear clicking against the chair, is looking at your hands, your nails, the cuff of your jacket, the phone you set face down on the table. She doesn't know your name. She doesn't need to. She already knows your tier. This is what other women do. Not all of them, not even most of them, but enough of them that you've felt it since you were 14 years old. The scan, the calculation, the quiet sorting that happens before anyone says hello. And the thing no one tells you is that the scan never stops. It just changes what it's measuring. Tier 1, $0. You have $41 in your checking account and a $7 balance on a prepaid Visa you forgot you loaded 3 months ago. Your shoes are from a bin outside a store that was already a discount store. Your jacket smells faintly of the lavender dryer sheet you tucked into the pocket because you couldn't afford detergent this week. Other women look through you. Not past you, through you. Like you're a window to something on the other side that might be more interesting. At the laundromat on Delancey, a woman named Vera folds her towels in perfect thirds, each crease pressed flat with the heel of her palm. And when your basket bumps hers, she pulls it away, like your clothes carry a frequency she doesn't want on her cotton. She doesn't say anything. She doesn't have to. The pull is the sentence. At the shelter intake, the woman behind the desk, Sandra, mid-50s, reading glasses on a beaded chain, types your information without looking up. She asks if you have dependents. She asks if you've used substances in the last 30 days. She doesn't ask how you got here. She's heard it. Every version. Yours isn't special to her, and her fingers keep typing while you're still answering the previous question. Other women at Zero don't compete with you. They don't envy you. They don't even dislike you. You simply don't register on the board they're playing on. You are below the threshold where comparison begins. Keisha meets you outside a Dollar General with 2 bags and a receipt she didn't check. She hands you one of the bags without explaining what's in it. Shampoo, a 4-pack of soap, a bag of rice. She doesn't scan you. She doesn't calculate. She splits a sleeve of crackers while sitting on the curb and talks about a show she's watching, like the 2 of you are anywhere else in the world. She's the only woman in your life right now who looks at you and sees a person instead of a position. Tier 2, $25,000. You have a job now, medical billing. $19.40 an hour at a clinic where the carpet smells like adhesive and the break room microwave has a scorch mark shaped like a question mark. You bring lunch in a reused grocery bag. You own 3 work-appropriate tops and rotate them on a schedule tight enough to notice. And Denise notices. Denise sits 2 desks over. Short bob, always blown out on Mondays, flat by Wednesday. She tracks your outfits the way a meteorologist tracks pressure systems, not because she cares what you wear, but because your rotation confirms something she needs to believe about herself, that she's doing better, that the gap between you and her is measurable and real and in her favor. She says things like, "That's a cute top," the second time you wear it in a week. She says, "Must be nice," when you mention buying coffee instead of making it. She laughs too quickly at things that aren't funny and too slowly at things that are. Denise is not your enemy. Denise is your mirror, the version of her she's terrified of becoming. Your cousin Rosa calls on a Sunday. Rosa is 38, 2 kids, works the front desk at a chiropractic office in Glendale. She asks how you're doing with a warmth that fills the phone. She tells you about her daughter's school play. She says she's proud of you for getting the job. She says it without performance, without agenda. Rosa, right now, at this tier, is one of the safest women in your life. She doesn't know yet that safety has an expiration date tied to the distance between your tax brackets. At $25,000, the women around you treat you like a peer they can afford to be generous toward, because your proximity confirms their stability. You're close enough to be relatable, unthreatening enough to be kind to. The warmth is real, but it has a Tier 3, $75,000. You've moved. New apartment, better neighborhood. You carry a bag now that wasn't on sale. Your hair is done every 6 weeks instead of every 4 months. The dermatologist's copay doesn't make you flinch. And the scoreboard turns on. Women you've known for years start watching you with a different instrument. Not cruelty, precision. They register the jacket. They clock the neighborhood. They notice the vacation photos and count the days you were gone and estimate the cost per night without asking. Denise, still 2 desks over, still blown out on Mondays, stops saying, "must be nice." She starts saying nothing. The silence where her commentary used to be is louder than anything she ever said out loud. You feel it the way you feel a draft, not dangerous, but present and impossible to ignore once you've noticed. At a birthday dinner for a mutual friend, a woman named Jocelyn, real estate license, highlighted hair, always arrives 7 minutes late with an excuse that's actually a brag, looks at your shoes and says, "Okay, girl." 2 words, musical, loaded. A compliment that's also an audit. You smile and Jocelyn smiles back, and neither of you is confused about what just happened. At $75,000, other women treat you like a competitor who just entered the bracket. The friendliness stays, but the math starts running underneath it. Every dinner, every outfit, every mention of a trip or a purchase gets fed into a comparison engine that none of you built, but all of you operate. Keisha texts you a photo of a stray cat she found. No context, no question. Just the cat sitting in a cardboard box with one eye half closed. You laugh in a meeting and no one knows why. Keisha doesn't track your salary. Keisha doesn't register your shoes. Keisha sends you stray cats at noon because that's what friendship sounds like when it isn't calculating. Tier 4, $150,000. You're a senior operations manager now. Your office has a door that closes. You wear a blazer on Tuesdays, not because you have to, but because it fits the way you speak in rooms where people are listening. And new women appear. Adrienne shows up at a networking event. She's 31, consulting background, earrings that catch the light in a way that feels practiced. She finds you by the bar and says, "I've heard your name a few times." Her smile is specific. Her warmth is immediate. She suggests coffee. She follows up the next day. Adrienne is smart and polished and interesting, and she chose you. That last part is the part you don't examine closely enough. Because at $150,000, certain women start choosing you the way venture capitalists choose startups, based on trajectory, not friendship. Rosa calls less often. When she does, there's a pause before she speaks, a recalibration you can almost hear through the phone. She asks about your apartment, and when you tell her the rent, she goes quiet for 3 seconds. 3 seconds is a canyon. She says, "That's great," and changes the subject to her daughter again, but the texture of the conversation has shifted. There is a roughness now that wasn't there at $25,000. At work, Denise has stopped speaking to you entirely, not out of hostility, out of self-preservation. Your success has made the gap she was measuring unbridgeable, and the only way she knows to handle it is to stop looking. At $150,000, Other women treat you like a question they're trying to answer. The question is, did she earn it or did she get lucky? And the answer determines whether they admire you or resent you. And most of them haven't decided yet. Tier 5, $500,000. You left the company, started something. Equity, clients, a name that people type into search bars. The sorting begins. Women from the old life stop texting first. Birthday messages arrive 12 hours late with an emoji that used to be a paragraph. Group chats you were part of since college go quiet when you're mentioned. Not silent, just quieter, the way a room adjusts when someone walks in wearing something no one else could afford. Rosa doesn't call anymore. You find out through your mother that Rosa told her sister that you've changed. You haven't changed. Your tax bracket changed. But to Rosa, those are the same thing. Because the distance between $38,000 and $500,000 is not a number. It's an accusation. It says, I moved and you didn't. You hear, must be nice, again. Not from Denise, from a woman at a dinner party whose name you won't remember in a week. But the phrase hits different now. At $25,000, it was a small cruelty. At $500,000, it's a perimeter fence. It says, you're on the other side now, and don't pretend you're not. Adrienne is still around. She introduces you to people. She mentions your name in rooms you're not in. But you start to notice that every introduction comes with a context. Your company, your funding, your press mention. Never just your name. You are useful to Adrienne in a way that looks like friendship and feels like inventory. At $500,000, other women treat you like weather. They check you the way they check the forecast, not because they care about you, but because your conditions affect their plans. Keisha meets you at the Thai restaurant. Same booth, same wobble. She orders the same pad ki mao she's been ordering since before you had a credit score. She doesn't mention your company. She doesn't mention the article. She mentions a stray cat she saw that morning, and you realize your eyes are wet, and you don't entirely know why. Tier 6, $1 million. You're a millionaire. The word sounds clinical when you say it to yourself in the bathroom of your apartment that has a bathroom big enough to say things to yourself in. Other women smile at you now. All of them. Every room you walk into. The smiles are perfect and immediate and warm in a way that has no temperature. A woman named Morgan invites you to a dinner. Morgan is 44, old money energy, lean in a way that suggests a trainer and a nutritionist and a chef who are never mentioned. She seats you next to a woman who runs a foundation and a woman who just left a hedge fund. The conversation is effortless. The wine is poured without anyone asking. The napkins are linen. Morgan is welcoming you. But she's also showing you the room. This is what's here. This is who belongs. The showing is the gatekeeping. She will be warm to you as long as your presence confirms the room's value. The moment you disrupt it, say the wrong thing, wear the wrong thing, bring the wrong person, the warmth will thin so gradually you'll wonder if it was ever there. Your real friends have shrunk to 3, maybe 2. The women who knew you at $0 are gone. Not dead, just distant, orbiting a version of you they remember and prefer. The women who found you at $500,000 are still here, but you can feel the transaction under every text. You start to realize that most women in your life right now are not friends. They are positions on a board, and you are a position on theirs. Keisha still splits the check. Tier 7, $50 million. $50 million and you don't carry a wallet anymore. Someone carries it for you. Someone else manages the person who carries it for you. Other women don't compete with you now. They study you. At a gala in Midtown, a woman named Patricia, silver hair, emerald brooch, the kind of posture that suggests decades of being watched, sits beside you and asks what you're passionate about, as though passion is a tax form with a line she needs to fill. Patricia is old money, generational, the kind of wealth that whispers. She looks at you the way a curator looks at a painting that might be authentic or might be very good forgery. To Patricia, you are not a peer. You are a case study. New money, self-made, interesting the way a documentary subject is interesting, worth observing, possibly worth referencing, but never quite inside the frame. Women you have never met have opinions about you. They read the profile. They saw the photo. They passed judgment on your necklace, your posture, your use of the word grateful in the third paragraph. They decided, without meeting you, whether you are inspiring or insufferable, whether you earned it or got lucky, whether you are someone to follow or someone to warn their daughters about. You have become a symbol, and symbols don't have friends. They have audiences. Rosa's daughter reaches out. She's 22 now. She says, "Aunt Maya, I just want to say," and you realize she's about to say the thing her mother never could. Not because Rosa didn't feel it, because Rosa's pride was built on a foundation that your success eroded, and admiration and resentment lived in the same room inside her, and she couldn't separate them. Must be nice. You hear it one more time, at a charity event, from a woman in a dress that costs more than your first apartment's rent. She says it about someone else, but you feel it land on you like an old bruise being pressed. Tier 8, $10 billion. $10 billion. You are no longer a woman to other women. You are an institution. They don't scan your bag. They don't clock your shoes. They don't estimate, compare, or calculate, because there is nothing to compare to. You have exited the scale entirely. Women approach you now through assistants and publicists and foundation directors. They pitch to you. They position their daughters near you. They send handwritten notes on stationery so heavy it feels like a small apology. Patricia, the same Patricia from the gala, with the emerald brooch and the curator's gaze, now calls your office and speaks to your chief of staff. She doesn't ask what you're passionate about anymore. She tells your team what her foundation needs and assumes the check will follow. You have moved from subject to source, from painting to patron. Morgan sends flowers on your birthday. The card says, "Thinking of you," and means, "Remembering that I have access." And somewhere below all of this, below the galas and the boards and the stationery and the staff, is a loneliness so specific it doesn't have a name. It is the loneliness of being seen by everyone and known by no one. Of walking into a room where every woman smiles and not one of them would call you at 2 a.m. if your world collapsed. The scan is gone. The calculation is gone. The competition, the comparison, the must be nice, all of it, gone. And in its place is something worse. Silence. The kind of silence that lives inside a room full of people who need something from you and have confused that need with love. You sit in a Thai restaurant with 8 tables and vinyl booths held together with tape on the seats. The pendant lamp still swings. The television still plays something no one can identify. Keisha is across from you. She's older now. The curls are shorter. The laugh is the same. She orders the pad ki mao without looking at the menu and splits the check down the middle, the way she has since the two of you had $41 between you. She doesn't mention the foundation. She doesn't mention the profile. She pulls out her phone and shows you a photo of a one-eyed cat sitting in a cardboard box. "He's back," she says, and for the first time in a long time, someone is looking at you and seeing the thing that money cannot change and wealth cannot buy, and no woman, no matter how sharp her scan or how precise her calculation, has ever been able to take from you. A person, not a position. Keisha puts her phone away and steals a piece of your spring roll and says, "You're not going to finish that." And you laugh the way you laughed when you were 22 and broke and sitting on a curb outside a Dollar General with a sleeve of crackers and a bag of rice and a woman who never once looked at your shoes. The check comes. She splits it. She always does.